let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Even though this was supposed to belong to December, of course, for that song, even for a Christmas song nonetheless. But for crying out loud, we're still on September already. Oh well. Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Piglet here once again, and I'm back for some more of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of the forms of Kirby's Epic Yarn, or the Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn for both Nintendo Wii and new Nintendo 3DS, if it's a possibility. So, excuse me. So last time we actually did manage to fully finish up with the forms of Waterland, but in forms of like Kampamari, and in addition to those 2 secret levels on that world, and in addition to those kinds of stuff, we also managed to able to actually did done some of those challenges, most notably Seeky's hide and seek challenges, and especially notable with the forms of Beatrix's run. So that's how it usually goes. So today for this episode, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that we're going to be taking on to the forms of the next world in this game, and that's the forms of Snowland, and to kick things off is the fact that we start things off with the forms of Snowy Fields. Snowland is actually one of my second favorite worlds of the game, actually, because, well, it reminds me of something almost entirely related to the forms at the very end of the year. Well, to be more accurately, December-wise. So even then though, that's because of how the fact that, well, there's going to be a lot of Christmassy items here and there once we're able to continuously explore for this particular environment. So, yeah, so today was actually forms of the 20th of September in 2018. So that means there's going to be quite a few things I'd like to talk about. But first off, I just want to point things out right away for this point, folks. Much like in ever since during the likes of in Rio Let's Play back in 2015, that both Mario and Luigi did manage to able to get that cold during the likes of how the fact that back in the day. However, though, that could be same applies for today for this point, because if you guys cannot clearly tell at this point, my voice is actually gone really off today, because first of all, I'm feeling extremely ill by the forms of a cold flu, which is not good, and especially noticeable how the fact that to make matters even worse, now the fact that I just got myself my bad cough. And even compared to yesterday, the day when I managed to able to actually upload the previous part yesterday, unfortunately though, from yesterday though, I've recently got myself my sore throat as well. And what makes it a little bit more obnoxious than that is the fact that every time whenever my throat is getting a little bit better and during today, for some reason, I don't know what it is though, at least as far as to me though anyway, it just usually randomly sometimes transfer sore throat to bad coughs again, which I felt very despised about that. But even then though, that's the reason why my voice has actually gone really off today, but I'm hoping during the next couple of videos ahead by the forms of Kirby's Epic Yarn Let's Play, I'm hoping my voice will actually go back into its normal state. But, well, at least we'll have to find out and see what happens there, because even then, it's just for today, but even then, until when we get to the later days, I'm hoping I can able to make myself better, but even then, yeah. So there's the first treasure, Big Bear Bed. So, yeah, it's actually pretty, cool of the world, naturally, because obviously this is a snowy environment place. And also in addition to that though, that later on, when we get to the next couple of levels ahead, we're actually going to be starting to able to actually introduce into ourselves the forms of the Christmassy items, mainly due to the, mainly to be forms of the second level after this, because Snowy Fields gimmick is the fact that, as you can see, some of those Waddle Dees actually carries out these snowballs, and in order to actually interact with the snowballs in general, that you can either just manage to able to actually get inside the snowball and take a real fun ride, which I honestly would not recommend doing that, especially when we get to the very end of a level. I'm going to tell you guys about right about now, and especially notice about how the fact that you can also manage to use that whenever you're trying to able to roll down onto things. But even then, one thing I should probably notice is the fact that you can also just manage to ride onto the forms of the snowballs right on top of it. Because of that though, I think it's best to say to do that, because obviously we need to able to actually just to do that before we're able to grab the rest of those remaining treasures and all that stuff. Well, naturally, we've only got just only one of them at the moment, but even then, we still got only 2 more left. And this is where I suggest you're able to actually collect all of the beads at the same time for the likes of the later portions of the levels themselves every nowadays, because well, if you really want to get the gold medal throughout, then best be sure to able to grind most of those beads, because if you do, then you would able to actually just classify to able to actually just go ahead and get your medal counts going. So here's the penguin mirror right there for the second treasure of this level. So yeah, it's all about yeah, that's just how this usually as far as it will go. So again, I do apologize about my commentary. It's got a little bit off today because I've already established that before about the fact that I've managed to get myself my cold, which is not good for able to actually do it not only for the entirety of gaming, although it can be good for some gaming if you actually decide to able to go ahead and take a rest or something like that. But whenever you're trying to do like let's plays and you know, video commentaries and all that stuff, it can be noticeably worse if you manage to able to get your colds, because even then that could be a really bad thing. And also at the same time, I felt slightly sick as well, because I think I drank too many waters or something like that, or maybe I just keep on sniffing too much. But anyways though, the reason why we need to get on top of this giant snowball at the very end is because of this third and final treasure, which appears to be a theme of snowy fields. So yeah, that's pretty much it for snowy fields in general. There's not too bad of it, the level itself. The only thing you do need to worry about though is the fact that every now and then, about the fact that there's actually a group of Model Ds that will eventually try to able to chuck the snowball right at you. And if you somehow get caused by the snowball and it managed to able to take you to the bottomless pit below, you will lose a lot of beats on that particular location. So be sure to able to actually stay sharp on that one. So, but if you get screwed over, then chances are you might as well get a bronze medal instead. So now we've unlocked the next stage for the Sicky's hide and seek challenges and all that stuff. And we've already placed the mitten patch, so that way we can able to unlock the next level, which appears to be kind of a cool level actually, even though we'll get to that as soon as we're able to get in, and the level's called Cozy Cavern. In fact, what we can do, but in forms of every time when we actually get a whole bunch of patches, eventually the snowman will about to be able to actually just decrease in size. So even then, I think that's the whole entire purpose of this particular hub world of the forms of Snowland. So yeah, that's as far as usually we can say. And speaking of Christmas, there are some familiar trees, especially noticeable what these beads they usually place in. They're all inspired by Christmas, aren't they? But even then, again, it's a bit too early to celebrate Christmas for this point yet, so even then, that we're probably not gonna celebrate Christmas way too early, to be honest, because, well, we still only got about, like, 3 months' time before, you know, Christmas is about to start. So, taking notice from the forms of the Santa Claus that normally does that, and before we do that, I need to able to get some more beads by this little, you know, bag enemy, so that way we can able to get even more beads to our disposal, and we actually come down the chimney just like how Santa did in the majority of Christmas holidays and all that stuff, even for, like, you know, traversing through any people's homes and family, and you know the rest. So anyways though, first treasure from here, the fireplace. So it's very not so easy, or it's not so easy to miss. In fact, it's actually way easier just to get it. So even then though, that's pretty much unmissable. And speaking of such, I believe whenever I play this game on my own time, this is the level I seem to able to actually just lost track with myself with the second treasure, because I do know where that is, but for some reason, whenever I first got the game, I just, for the life of me, I can never seem to able to get the second treasure from my first attempt on this particular game. But even then though, I do know exactly where it is, but hey, oh, this looks familiar, it's almost like Christmas tree. But again, it's not Christmas just yet though. I kind of wish if I was trying to able to actually save this world before Christmas, but I've decided to able to actually just put this up a little bit early. So just in case I need to complete the majority of the Kirby games, or to be more specifically, the mainstream Kirby games. Well, at least one of those spin-off games, which is the forms of this game. And I really don't know about the forms of Power Paintbrush and even Rainbow Paintbrush, because those are the gameplay types I'm not exactly a huge fan of, because, well, it's just not my kind of thing, to be honest with you guys. Other than that, it's just for the actual gimmicks works. So Anyways though, we need to go down here and hopefully we can get some more beads. In fact, we actually already reached to the forms of the gold medal already. And I think this is the treasure I was talking about. I accidentally missed that treasure whenever first time I played the game. In fact, it's actually called the chimney. So even then though, that's the only treasure I've missed during the likes of this level on my own time. But thankfully though, we have finally managed to able to find that during the likes of this particular Let's Play itself. So that's very cool. So yeah, I do apologize for the actual sniffing noise in the background, just because, well, I'm still rough around the edges. But again, I'm hoping I can make myself a little bit more better during tomorrow, especially the other day. But as of right now, that I know you guys may actually feel sorry for me to able to actually get my illness like this, but still. But it's just how it goes. But it forms of some days, unfortunately, even though it doesn't usually do that all the time. But some days they usually just manage to able to give you like cold illness and all that stuff, which I'm not terribly fond of, and all that stuff and shenanigans and stuff like that. Another Christmas tree, how about that then, huh? And by the way, for the main gimmick of the forms of Cozy Cavern is the fact that, if you couldn't tell, that this level is almost like a auto-scrolling level almost, but you can able to actually explore for quite a bit on this level. The fact of the matter is though, you can actually come across into these sequences like 3 times. 2 of them can be involved around we need to go down, rather than just going up, because, well, if you couldn't tell, every time you're actually entering these sequences like this, the screen starts to able to actually just to scroll all the way up or down. And if you get crushed, then you're able to lose a whole bunch of beads. So, in fact, there's no game over screen in this particular version of the game. I'm pretty sure in the new Nintendo 3DS version, it might retain the forms of the game over screen in the forms of the devilish mode, but I'm not exactly entirely sure yet, because even then, we haven't know what the final release date is going to be. And even especially noticeable for the schedule of the forms of how the fact that it's only going to be on the new 3DS hardware. So, there we go, that concludes Cozy Cavern. So yeah, this third and final part, we have to go all the way up instead of going down, because I know it's a little bit different when it comes to that system goes, but we've pretty much done that no problem. Even though I did accidentally got hit by these spear waddle dees by complete accident, I think it's most likely because I simply need to able to actually just go after every single bead. And as a result, I did manage to able to lose some of those beads. But don't worry, I still managed to get them back. Alright, so we got ourselves a spool patch, and now let's go ahead and place that right on here. And this way, you're able to actually get, get the actual snowman a lot more smaller than you would think. And that way we should unlock the next level. And that is Mint Slide, which means Mountain Slide, or Mount Slide, if you want to able to pronounce that very correctly. Then we can able to know how this will go. So let's get to it. I believe for this level is going to be most likely focusing on the not only because it's short and everything, but it's also it actually retains a transformation which we have not seen since Rainbow Falls in the first world in the game, which we have ourselves a little bit of a snow sledging or no, not so much snow sledging, but snow surfing Kirby. So yeah, that's very cool start for that little department right there. So, now getting these treasures can get pretty tricky, but as long as you're able to actually try to get the gold medal, which I might as well able to do one right now, and hopefully we can able to actually get a gold medal during time. In fact, if you want to able to actually get these star beads, be sure to able to jump at the right time before you're able to actually just go ahead and get those whole bunch of beads if you want to go after for. And by the way, do you know these items, as you can see right there, that we've actually jumped a little bit higher this time? That's what the actual wing power-up comes into play with the forms of that specific transformation. You can only use it just once, other than you can actually get another one depends if you actually find one. In fact, there's actually one there. And what you can do with it is the fact that you can able to actually jump higher with this thing. So yeah, that's very cool looking, even though I've accidentally messed that up right there from the start, because I know there was a CD in here somewhere. But I think it's actually a lot trickier to able to get the treasures as far as it will go. So, speaking of treasure, shoot, I timed that thing badly. And I completely messed that up. Yeah, I've seen I messed that up. And I do notice is the fact that it actually contains the third and final treasure, so... Oh well, I guess I should probably just focusing on the gold medal requirements first of all, and then eventually when we do this level again, I would, assuming we can able to actually get the rest of the remaining treasures. So, there we go. That concludes that level, even though I've accidentally missed out the third and the final piece for that gold game right there, but I don't know. And I don't get anything, don't I? Nope, I didn't get anything. Oh well. Well, that's fine though, because we've already got, you know, a gold medal as it is. I'm pretty sure, if you're probably familiar with this music, I forgot to mention about something, is the fact that, once you're able to actually get your hands on the forms of, like, let's just say if you get a bronze medal or the silver medal, you get yourselves a quick victory fame. But if you get a gold medal, you get yourselves a longer victory fame. So I thought it's worth bringing up. Alright, we've actually unlocked a new stage for once, or a new mission for Beatrix Run, but I'm not going to do that just yet though. Other than that, we have to concentrate on the actual, you know, Snowland first. And look at that, the snowman is going to get even much more smaller than that, and this will actually create a giant snowflake. Jeez. And this way it will unlock Frosty Wheel. That's cool and all. But before I do this level though, on the other hand though, I need to go back to this level, although thankfully the level itself is really short though, so I'm pretty sure I can able to actually find you guys some of these treasures if you're actually missing out something, so... But for the most part though, getting a gold medal is not too hard though. On the other hand, when we get to the secret levels of this particular world, oh man, you probably know what I'm talking about during the next video, because... surprisingly enough, we can able to actually finish up the entirety of the, well, the actual main run-through of this world within just one video, so that's very surprising altogether, which even then, because I know for a fact that a lot of people seem to think about the fact that this world might take a little bit long time. Oh, screw you. But that's okay though, because we still got a gold medal as it is, so even then though, that's all that usually matters. So, anyways though, a few things I want to explain about this is the fact that, you know how the fact with the forms of the Nintendo Switch online services that is recently announced back in, you know, in the forms of the 13th of September 2018 Nintendo Direct. Apparently, one of those likes and dislikes bar by the forms of Nintendo Switch online services, much like in the forms of Metroid Prime Federation Force for the Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo Switch Online Services presentation in the forms of the direct introduction for that particular system, they got a lot of dislikes and a little amount of likes, which I'm assuming this might be something to do with, like, you have to force to able to buy a monthly payment for the forms of online services, which, sure, I'm really skeptical about it, but as far as I've noticed something like this happens, is that much like the Emoji Movie, that stupid, terrible freaking film, I'm sorry. It's just, I just really hate that film so much. Hey. But, hey, Kirby will cheer me up though, so at least it just makes me, time to shine with him, so... Especially with the forms of the new 3DS, port of the game we're about to be on its way, during sometime next year, so, you know. Alright, hopefully I can win something out of it this time. In fact, we actually got... Hey, at least we got something out of it though, like, you know, 300 beads altogether, so there we go. That concludes Mount Slide, or in this case Mountain Slide, whatever you want to decide to call this level. And yeah, that's all I can usually think about. So yeah, because I think the reason why a lot of people seem to really dislike the actual, like, Nintendo Switch online services, but in forms of the actual video itself, on the introduction for that video, I think it's most likely because of how the fact that much like Xbox Live membership cards, and especially with the, I was assuming the PlayStation Plus or something like that. Well, these of all depends though, really. You were able to actually force to able to pay money, your real money I should say, to be able to actually access to Nintendo Switch online service, which I'm really worried about that, because I was really hyped for the forms of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that I can play online with it for proppers, and especially notable with the forms of the online Mario Fun in the Super Mario Party, and especially notable for the forms of Splatoon 2, and especially notable by the online functionalities of or in this case, the Wi-Fi battles in the forms of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu / Eevee editions. So, yeah, that's the only things I'm worried about, though, for the most part. So, but on the plus side, though, the only good thing about the video, though, is the animations of Mario's characters are interacting with the actual video itself. Kind of like how it did in, you know, back in during the likes of in the very beginning of it, about a year ago. You know how the fact that in the Parental Controls application that Bowser and Bowser Jr. involves? Yeah, it does remind me of those particular videos like this, except this time, Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, Yoshi, and even Toad, and even Blue Toad as well, I think, can actually join into the actual, well, footages itself. So, that's very, pleasing. Even though some people complain about the fact with the actual, cloud save data system, the fact of the matter is, though, is that both, Splatoon 2 and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee editions does not support cloud, system, which I'm very, very anxious about this, because even then, I think that's why I start to agree a lot of people about the fact that I'm probably not gonna go buy Nintendo Switch online services and stuff like that, with the actual, like, you know, some things is about to change, which I'm sure enough that might be a little bit of a bad thing, but I'm hoping that I can able to actually access to online for free or something like that, but unfortunately it's not going to be forever to be the case, so even then I won't have to cope with this, I suppose. So, from here, as you can tell, that we got ourselves chilies ever since during the likes of. We've already seen these chilies ever since in the previous Kirby's adventures, excluding for the likes of the level called from, you know, Snowy Fields. And what they can do is the fact that they don't hurt you, but they temporarily freeze you. So even then, though, that could be the same applies for those ice breathing moments, as you can see right there. That thankfully, though, if you get frozen, you don't lose your bead, so you temporarily get stunned, unlike these projectiles, because projectiles are very dangerous, though, compared to any other stage hazards or obstacles and stuff like that. I'm assuming so for that anyway. Another thing I would like to talk about for this point, look at that. 2018 on my beads counter. That's the exact same number as the current year at the moment. Which is funny, because even then, whenever I don't know if I tell you about this, guys, about this point. Recently, whenever I managed to able to get myself Mario Party 2, the Nintendo 64 original cartridge version of that game, and at one point I managed to able to play through Minigame Coaster on normal difficulty, and I was playing as Wario, and even Mario as my companion, and I actually realized about the fact that one time I was playing normal mode on the Minigame Coaster, and then at the very end of the goal, I managed to claim about, let's just say, 18 coins and 20 extra lives, and that's what these two combines all together with the results and stuff like that. It creates 2018 coins all in total, which is kind of strange if you ask me, because even then, though, that I managed to able to come across into that at the very beginning of the year, which is very surprising. Can you at least get onto that little end of the goal syndrome, please? Actually, I'll just wait. Now, okay, there we go. Again, I do apologize if my voice is actually going really off, because, you know. Alright, so far so good anyway, for Snowland anyway though, and conveniently enough, we might actually do a boss fight now. So even then though, since we've actually got ourselves our next patch, so even then though, that we could able to actually do something with it now. Mainly, let's see what patch is it called, I wonder, but even then, I'll never know until this result screen is done. Diamond Dust. Not to be confused as Diamond Dust Zone from Sonic 3D Flicky's Island. So, or in this case, Sonic 3D Blast for those of you who lived in North America. So here it is. There's the forms of... Oh, wow. They really torn out the forms of the giant snowman all this whole time. Felt bad for that particular snowman, I got to admit, though. But I'm presuming the reason why they do this is because we can actually unlock the actual boss fight in Snowland is none other than King Dedede, of course. Because obviously we already know about this ever since in the previous cutscene, so I thought to myself that we can able to actually deal out with him for considerable amount of times ever since the Kirby's past. Well, the only exception being Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, because Kirby and the Amazing Mirror doesn't have King Dedede on that game whatsoever, which is kind of odd. Hey King Dedede, how's it going? How can you just able to actually travel in there? Oh god, he got possessed again. But this time, we don't have to worry about dark matter, stuff like that this time. See, but no, this time around, though, King Dedede is now got possessed by the forms of, let's just say, these little, string handlers or string puppets and stuff like that. Kind of like how it did for Pinocchio and stuff like that. Except, well, he doesn't made out of wood or anything. Could imagine if they, the actual characters were made out of wood, even though it might not happen throughout at the moment at this point. So, yeah, this fight can get pretty tricky, especially noticeable you need to pay attention to his attacks, but his weakness is the forms of how the fact that you can able to actually take down 4 strings onto its possessed moments, because if you manage to able to actually take down all 4 of those strings, then you would able to actually finish off with this boss fight. So, important to notice the fact that always have to able to actually ground pound his back, so that way you can able to actually reach the strings from that way. So if you don't reach down during time, then obviously you're probably not gonna... Oh, shoot. Let's see if we can finish him off. Okay, before we finish him off, I need to grind more beats, and I think that will be enough, I hope. Ah, I didn't make it in time, shoot. Ah, that was a bit stupid right there. Hopefully we can able to actually finish him off in during time though, but even then though, that's just how I think it is, so... Yeah, I will admit though right away is the fact that this boss fight can get pretty tricky sometimes, most notably with his attack patterns and all that stuff. But as long as you know what you're doing, especially noticeable with this timing jumps on here, then you would able to be fine with that. So, but you can't take your time on this though, because if you take some time, then King Dedede managed to able to break out of it. So, there we go. That concludes King Dedede, and that's pretty much it. But in forms of Snowland, and that might actually be what number of that magic yarn piece was actually at. I'm assuming this might be the 6th one, so hopefully we should able to actually fix those 2 back together, and I believe we've only got 1 more piece of the magic yarn left, but that'll be for a later time.
We did it! We got a piece of the magic yarn. The magic yarn shimmered and spiraled and swirled high into the sky. The yarn weaved its way into the fabric of the kingdom and stitched 2 pieces of patchland together. Meanwhile, in the sky above Dreamland. On the battleship Halberd, Meta Knight had noticed some odd changes in the landscape. Patches and stitching everywhere. What monster would do such a thing? Just then, a powerful laugh filled the sky around him. What? Who goes there? Yin Yang crashed onto the deck and completely ambushed Meta Knight. Mind if I sock it to you? And just like that, Meta Knight was gone. Now Yin Yang had Dreamland all to himself. With Yin Yang's victory all sewn up, did this mean the end of Dreamland?
So, looks like King Dedede is not the only one who managed to able to get sucked up in the actual magical sock, but also Meta Knight as well. Gee, I wonder why. But I digress. So now we've actually opened up a next new world, which is called Spaceland, not to be confused as Spaceland as the actual main board of Mario Party 2, which is kind of strange. But even then, we'll save that for a later time, because after this little patch animation as what is shown here, that we're able to actually unlock ourselves probably the most difficult level to get the gold medal from, in my opinion. Frenchment forage or something like that. I don't know what that last word is named for. But anyways though, I'm afraid guys we have to end things off for this point right there, so join me next time on Let's Play Kirby's Epic Yarn. It's the fact that we're going to be taking on those secret levels in Snowland, and I think that's about it for the most part. So even then, yeah. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, see you guys next time. Later fellas. I'll promise you guys I'll make myself better tomorrow.